what I'd like you to do would be use your hour, say, and I would like you to sort of diarise or like write down your story or talk your story once a week. So whether you do that into like a Google Doc or you do a video or something, and then from that you pull out all the bits to put in your different places, but I want that story like its raw form, and then you then share that in different places.
Okay.
So I do this, and I get people to do this because sometimes if we create one piece of content, we can usually chop it up and dissect it and put it into various different bits. So it can go to like emails, it can go to LinkedIn posts, it can go into
Substack.
exactly all these different things. And I think for you, if we get into the habit of telling your story, so like I have a thing on a Monday, I'll come and I'll sit here and I will literally just write what's on my mind, and then from that I will then create like my marketing for the week ahead.
So it's not the overall story. So it can be literally this week I've been thinking about this, and this week I've been thinking about energy and how it moves and exchange in conjunction with Ginger.
And so that's what I'd like you to sort of get into the habit of doing, because then that's like you can start from the very beginning.
It's like you in your rawest form.
Yeah. And I want you to kind of see like marketing as a bit like your journaling, or like you're diarising your life, because that sort of content at the moment is really magnetic, in that people are like, they want to see what happened, like what's happening, like what are they currently doing. Because when we sort of get into this phase of like documenting what we're doing or telling our story, we need to then look at it and have like through the lens of like, what does how does this benefit my audience? So when you're telling your story and you're documenting what you're doing or you're writing something down, I want you to always have in the back of your mind is like, okay, what's in it for them reading this? So you could be telling your story about like how you started at like you trained at St. Martin's, for example, and then be like, okay, write down everything that you wanted about that, and then think about it. How does that benefit your audience? And then I would be like, okay, so I would then pull it into, benefits me because of like
I decided to do that post children growing up, and I did it at the age of 50.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it just shows that you've got like there's never like a time limit. Like you can always just keep going.
Yeah.
There's always something new to be learning. It's always exciting. It's always bringing something new. And I think just having that sort of lens on whatever you're creating will make it so that you are telling your story, but then it's also interesting to them, because sometimes people go down the rabbit hole of, I'm telling my story, listen to me, but actually we need to make
it's your story, but how it relates to them.
How it relates to them. So the people that do it really well, like people that be going on holiday and they'll be sort of documenting what they're doing, and they'll be like, what is it? I saw something, this guy got a parking ticket when he was on holiday with a hire car. And then he was then relating it back to, but I don't, what was he saying? He said something about like how that then was like an experience that there's something they spoke about later on in the day. Like, so don't take for granted these little things that happen, and though it pisses you off, it's how you basically react to it. He then sold his PT program off the back of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's like looking at like what story are you telling?